Donald Trump, Michael Cohen to face off again at New York fraud trial. Reuters. Donald Trump and his one-time lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen will square off once again on Wednesday in a Manhattan courtroom, where the former U.S. president faces a civil fraud trial over his family real estate company's business practices. Cohen, who cut ties with Trump 5 years ago, will undergo more cross-examination by Trump's lawyer, determined to undermine his credibility. Cohen testified on Tuesday that Trump arbitrarily inflated the value of the Trump Organization's real estate as. Below are your comments. What it all boils down to is if the lenders and insurance companies did their due diligence, and if there were losses on their part, then they, not the state of New York, would be responsible to prove fraud. 17 counts of tax fraud last year, added to his ever-growing list of frauds. Trump University fraud, $25 million fine. NY charity fraud, $2 million fine. Taj Mahal money laundering, $10 million fine. FTC stock trade fraud, $750,000 fine. In 2020, Trump was legally forced to refund over $122 million. Liz Cheney Adam Kinzinger 2024. What law says you cannot value your property at any prices you want? If a bank, lender, or mortgage company feels the property is worth what you value it at, it is on them, not the state. It is not up to the state to dabble in businesses that does not affect them. The Equalization Board sets tax value. Trumpaldiskin is already declared guilty by the courts. What's going on now is the amount of penalty he must pay in. Don the Khan must realize he can't sway the judge outside the court on the sidewalk. There is no jury to sway. Trump is tap dancing for his basketful of deplorables. Next news. California Governor Newsom meets China's President Xi. Reuters. Beijing. Reuters. California Governor Gavin Newsom met Chinese President Xi Jinping on Wednesday to discuss climate change, raising hopes that China and the United States can find common ground ahead of an APEC summit and COP28 climate meeting next month. Xi and U.S. President Joe Biden are expected to meet at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) summit in San Francisco in November, although the meeting has not been confirmed. Newsom told reporters after the meeting that he had an oppo. Below are your comments. Two communist leaders meeting over climate change, spewing tons of CO2. But remember, it's your fault for trying to live a normal life. Many Americans are jealous of Newsom's trip to China. The world is no longer free. In just 3 days, he achieved much more than the number of cabinet members achieved in previous trips. Dear world. This moron does not represent our country. I don't know why he is even over in China. Who paid for this trip? What the heck is going on? Gavin Newsom is the stupidest, most moron person in the whole world. Why is he over talking to China like he's representing our country? F is this horse doing? He is way out of line. Probably worried about his illegal investments. Y is the wannabe actor replacing Mr. Dementia? Brandon, your replacement is on stage. So California taxpayers are footing actors' traveling expenses. Take some homeless with ya. Next news. White House says a ceasefire would only benefit Hamas. The New York Times. Washington. The United States on Tuesday rejected growing calls to support a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas because such a move would only benefit Hamas, a White House spokesperson said. The spokesperson, John F. Kirby, said the Biden administration supported pauses in the conflict to allow the flow of humanitarian aid. But he said civilian casualties were all but inevitable as Israel tries to vanquish Hamas in the Gaza Strip. We're going to continue to make sure Israel has the. Below are your comments. Why isn't UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres calling for unconditional release of all hostages by Hamas? Thanks President Biden. I don't want my tax money going into Gaza for any reason. Unless it's to fight the Hamas. I fully believe that if Trump were in office right now, this mess would not have happened. Hamas would be completely scared of his retaliation if they tried this with him in charge. But they spent 3 years studying Biden's non-existent leadership, his reaction to Russia invading Ukraine, and his translation equals we stand to make billions of dollars off this conflict for the military-industrial complex. So no, we do not support a ceasefire that would jeopardize any potential profits. And those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. Next news. U.S. House Republicans hope Johnson will fill long leadership vacancy. Reuters. Washington. Reuters, the U.S. House of Representatives Republicans' leadership fight dragged into a 23rd day on Wednesday, with the narrow majority trying to unite around Representative Mike Johnson after ousting their leader and blocking 3 potential replacements. The long standoff, started by a handful of party hardliners angry about a bipartisan deal that averted a partial government shutdown, has left the chamber unable to respond to the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine, or to take a. Below are your comments. Jim Jordan was the ultimate MAGA candidate, and he fell 25 votes short of 217. He could not convince those 25 to vote for him. In the closed-door roll call vote last night, there were 3 present votes, and 22 people who didn't even show up. Johnson can't even get those 25 in the room. Here's a scene. I think the nation will be back to ground zero with this man as speaker. He will be a hardliner. He will allow the country to shut down and the repubs will use what was that again? Oh yes, alternative facts to make their shortcomings the Democrats' fault. They are good at lies. The anarchists are still dragging out their work stoppage. No surprises here. The next election can't come fast enough. Next news. Jake Tapper interrupts live hit from Israel for GOP news and isn't happy. HuffPost. The CNN anchor didn't hide his exasperation at cutting away to the latest development on the utter clown car of the House Republican Speaker's race. Below are your comments. I don't watch these big news networks, but I am familiar with Jake Tapper. I may have to figure out when his program is on and tune in. I read some of the stuff he says and just laugh my tail off. He's pretty blunt. Tapper asked the right question. Emmer was too sane for the majority of the House Republicans, who are clearly not, still bowing to Donald's influence over the base. While in contrast, Donald's previous enablers in his big lie campaign are turning on the cult leader. The moderates are finally standing up against the election deniers, or at least so far. With everyone flipping on Trump, when do the rest of the GOP presidential candidates finally call on Trump to end his run, as have Christie and Hutchinson? Don't hold your breath. Jake, you are indeed covering life and death issues in the Mid-East. However, the current conduct of Republicans in the House of Representatives is an obvious attempt to sabotage our traditional political system and render it incapable of effectively functioning. This is why coverin'. Next news. Candidates spar over key tax issue in final gubernatorial debate before Kentucky election. Associate D. Press. Democratic Gov. Andy Beshear and Republican Attorney General Daniel Cameron sparred over a key tax policy in their final debate Tuesday night, sharpening their closing pitches to voters with 2 weeks left in their hard-hitting campaign for governor in Kentucky. The Bluegrass State campaign is one of the country's most closely watched off-year elections, and LD offer clues about voters' sentiments heading into the 2024 contests for the White House and control of Congress. Cameron decried the. Below are your comments. This is a no-brainer. I mean Cameron. And to vote for 4 more years of Andy, who has been an excellent governor. Also vote for the Democrat Attorney General, Pamela Stevenson. First day of no excuse needed early voting is November 2nd, so coming up soon. Cameron is nothing but a black Trump and McTurtle puppet. I'm voting for Andy. A shining city upon a hill? More like a weighted city built upon the sand of an unfunded retirement system that both candidates have conveniently forgotten about. Vote for Beshear if you like a governor who sends the popo to write down licenses plate numbers of cars in church parking lots. Yes, we the people still remember. Next news. MSNBC's Nicole Wallace hits Donald Trump with stinging House reality check. HuffPost. Fox News' Sean Hannity and Republican Rep. Jim Jordan were also ridiculed by the Deadline White House anchor. Below are your comments. Trump and the MAGA Republicans' agenda is chaos and mayhem. They will not allow anyone to become House Speaker who is likely to work with Democrats to get anything done for the American people. And the GOP doesn't have enough non-MAGA members to vote in a speaker. This is a lost cause. Nicole Wallace does a very fine job on MSNBC. She certainly comes across as rational, intelligent and, most importantly, honest. We could use a few more adults like her. The most recent nominee, Emmer, could not even last 4 hours until Trump tweeted and took him down. Then they nominated Mike Johnson. Let's consider that cattle call interview for Johnson. Hello, sir. Please tell us your name. Rep. Mike Johnson, RLA, you say? We have one question for you. Do yo? I know of Nicole from being G.W. Bush's communication director, and she's excellent at what she does. I don't know about her show, but I do know she's a no-nonsense type person and would only give the facts and tell the truth. Next news. We're wiser. U.S. Republican women candidates steer clear of speaker fight. Reuters. As the fractious U.S. House of Representatives Republican caucus has squabbled for 3 weeks over who should lead it, He group's women members have stayed on the sidelines. We're wiser, said Representative Kathy McMorris Rogers, a former chair of the Republican House Conference. Errants. Since a small group of party hardliners engineered the October 3 ouster of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, the caucus has been through round after round of votes in which 14 of its members have failed to garner the Below are your comments. We're wiser. U.S. Republican women candidates steer clear of speaker fight. I've got 2 words, Boebert and Green. To say they're not exactly Mensa members would be too kind. If Republican women had any leadership abilities, they wouldn't need little boys to make their personal, reproductive decisions for them. These jokers need to turn in their woman card. They are a disgrace. The women know a poison chalice when they see it. It's a no-win situation with a razor-thin majority, and a few crazies in that majority. We're wiser. Next news. Chuck Todd. Mitt Romney sounds one last alarm on Trump. NBC News. Mitt Romney's reckoning with his role in Donald Trump's rise is his attempt to sound the alarm 1L. Ask time before it's too late to save the GOP from itself. Below are your comments. In other words, our leaders don't lead, they follow their voters, and will follow them right off a cliff rather than try to lead them to safety. If all the votes were counted and checked, like Trump now demands, he wouldn't be president in 2016. Go back and read the vote tallies against the number of disqualified ballots in states he won with very low margin. Again, all each party and politician cares about is getting re-elected and remaining in power. They don't care about the truth or what's right for the country. Another reason for term limits. Before he went into politics, he devoted his life to running honest businesses through LBOs. He enjoyed eliminating jobs and starving families and offshoring jobs. Mitt is also part of the wall in D.C. that will never collapse in the face of honesty or ethics. Next news. News analysis. The House Republican Civil War shows Trump's power, and its limits. LA Times. Tom Emmer, a member of House GOP leadership, failed to secure the votes for the speakership Tuesday, after the former president expressed opposition to Emmer's candidacy. Below are your comments. No one can actually call the Republicans conservatives. They are as far from that definition. So just call them Trumpers because that's who they are. They plot chaos and misinformation and violent rhetoric around Trump's base to cause misdirection. They have no plan, except to cause more disruptio. I want to compliment the GOP on their decisiveness and cohesiveness. Exclamation mark. Dot. The Democratic Party thanks you. The GOP cannot govern. The only way to get a speaker is to nominate a moderate who can be seated with some Democrats voting present. Again, MAGA Republicans choosing Trump over country, and nothing but chaos and dysfunction ensues. Things will not go well for Republicans at the next election, that is for sure. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.